Alright YouTube, for this vlog I'll be talking about my Dune 4 through 7 movie potential and the theories behind them, as well as talking about some Dune fancasts I saw on Reddit because I love fancasts. But I will say I'm not terribly familiar with a lot of these characters because I'm only up to Dune Messiah, Dune Book 2 in the franchise, and I will say Dune Messiah definitely does pale in comparison book-wise to the first one, but hopefully, and I'm sure that won't be the case for the movie, which is the funniest thing ever when a movie is even better than the book, because that never happens. So Dune Messiah is a very anticipated movie for the end of this year, and if it's even better than the book, that's saying something. And here's a drawing of me, myself, and I as a Dune character. Really like how this drawing came out. But anyways, if you remember around last year in 2025, Mikey Madison was rumored to be a Star Wars starfighter villain, but turned down the role due to a pay dispute. Not sure the whole story, but one thing I do remember is the poster of this image suggested and mentioned that he thinks that Mikey Madison is more fitted for the Dune franchise than the Star Wars franchise, and I'm sure there's so many unexplored characters of the Dune franchise, which I'm really happy and excited about, because although I think it's cool to see, big names in the Dune and sci-fi franchises that, obviously she's a big name, but also I want to see some more unknown and lesser known actors and actresses and young people in these movies, but I definitely think Mikey Madison would be a fine addition to the franchise. And before I show off the fan cast, I will show this drawing of Fade Rowler, who was portrayed by Austin Butler, and another popular fan cast was Barry Keoghan, who not terribly familiar with his acting other than the Joker and the potential of his Joker in the Batman Part 2, which I think will be really cool, but apparently everyone said he was going to be a really good or fit the role of Fade perfectly, so I'm sure there's another character similar to Fade Rowler in the Dune franchise that he could portray. We also know that, Stellan Skarsgård, who is the father of Bill Skarsgård, who does not play Fade Rowler, I think he could be an interesting addition to the Dune franchise, because I think although he was my top pick for Batman, I'm feeling like it's less and less likely, so why not hop on, a great new franchise? I don't know. And here we have yet another little Dune-inspired drawings, the suns and the moons. But I believe Jason Momoa's children are actually portrayed or going to play the children of Paul and Chani in Dune Messiah, and most likely children of Dune, so I won't talk too much into that fan cast. Now, like I said, I'm not terribly familiar with a lot of these characters, but I do know the actors and actresses, many of them featured in the fan cast. So for this movie of the God Emperor of Dune, I could definitely see Rosario Dawson and Tessa Thompson being great additions to the Dune franchise because of previous roles they've played in Star Wars and Marvel respectively, so that gets 2 thumbs up from Jones Beach. And moving on from the fan cast aspect, this is a drawing of Paul Atreides in Dune Messiah. As you see, he has the short hair like me, so really excited to see that on the big screen. But something I think could be, just as good for the other Dune movies would be, more sword fighting scenes, because I think a big difference between Dune and Star Wars is that, well, obviously both are sci-fi galactic movies, but Dune has somewhat more realistic-ish fight scenes, like with swords as opposed to laser swords, if that makes sense. And many have said that the rest of the Dune franchise is supposedly unfilmable or unmovable, or would be good as an HBO series, but anyways, I drew this drawing of Grogu and Mando. But back to the point, I think that, so many good directors, and especially that I featured and talked about in my previous Dune vlog, could sort of do this a great justice, because so many things that are like impossible to film have been done by these directors. And I recently saw the movie Hamnet, which was incredible, and every frame in it looked like a painting, which I've heard, and I was really happy to see that be true. So I could see that director doing a good job with some of these other Dune movies. Well, of course, the other directors that I featured in previous vlog, not going to go into because I made an entire separate vlog about that, but I'll leave a link to that video in the description below. So in the meantime, I'm so excited and hoping to see more of this Dune franchise in the series, even though Dennis will be exiting and so will Paul. But until then, thanks for watching. Stay more soon. Goodbye.